Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Everyone has a right to be stupid. Some politicians just abuse the privilege. And I remember Einstein's comment, there is a major difference between intelligence and stupidity. Intelligence has its limits. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. Followed by a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning on a Wednesday. Oh, God bless America, my home, sweet home. Thank you very much, Kate Smith. And good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell. And our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And along with some of our great advertisers that include Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them, get on the route service, locally owned and operated, 734-6969. And we also thank Valley Wide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch, and all the 4-H'ers, too. And I mean everything at Valley Wide Home and Ranch. And right now, let's say a good morning to our Pledge of Allegiance person.
I will do it.
I kind of figured you were going to volunteer. I saw your hand shoot up in the air.
Totally.
Okay. Don't sound so down. There you go.
It's 8 o'clock in the morning, Zeb.
Yeah, I know, but get up at 4. I'll tell you what. I will call you at 4 o'clock tomorrow morning to make sure that you're enjoying the day.
Oh, can't wait.
All right, go ahead, sir.
All right, I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Damon, I appreciate it. Old Wheels over there. And by the way, if you can turn up your feed to me just a touch, because it's not coming through very well. Let's go to the weather right now, brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door, the very best in carpet and flooring, kitchen construction, home decor, whatever you need to make your house a home, it's all there. Carpet, vinyl, tile, everything at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. And right now, here's the world's greatest weatherman, Michael Rogers Weather.
You are so kind. Hello, everyone. It's going to rain today. It's going to rain a lot today. The beauty of it is that you're not going to get as much as everyone else. But I always told you, weather can't read, so let's get to our forecast. You got rain today. It's going to turn into heavy rain later on this afternoon going into tonight. 85 for the high, 58 for the overnight low. Now, if you're going to be traveling today, the bigger issues with the rain take place just south of you. There are flood warnings all about northern Nevada, from, say, Jackpot to Wells to Elko. You name it, it's going to be raining pretty good down there. Now, the bottom line with the situation is that we can tell you about the rain, but if you're on the road, one of the things you have to be cognizant about, especially when you're driving in northern Nevada, is that when the rain hits the ground, it's not going anywhere. It'll go somewhere in the ground, but most of it won't. So when you have these flooding issues and you're driving on the highway, the one thing you have to worry about is hydroplaning. And the reason why I'm making that possible to you is because hydroplaning is unannounced. All you're doing is riding on top of water. You won't feel anything. Now, how do you know that? Well, if you're driving too fast and something happens, that's pretty much it. Truck drivers know exactly what I'm talking about. and they got 18 wheels to deal with. So if you're going to be traveling down U.S. Highway 93 southbound today, anywhere in northern Nevada, the flood issues are all over the place, from Elko down to Wells, down to Ely. Other than that, you're going to come out of this rain tomorrow, and the stars are lined up, and if everything works, you're going to have yourself a nice weekend with temperatures in the 80s, and the overnight lows in the upper 50s. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
All right, Michael, thank you very much. Brought to everybody by Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Oh, my goodness sakes, these folks are good. They just had their anniversary sale last weekend, and they've got so much of the carpet and the flooring, and they can do wonderful kitchen construction. Please give them a call or stop in, 678-6945, Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Hey, big team roping tonight over at the Jerome County Fairgrounds. My old buddy Dave Zanino is going to put it on again. It's the third in a summer series. 3 for $25 draw pot. Enter up to 6 times. And for more information, call Dave Zanino at 431-1263. Hey, by the way, I also want to say thank you to a long time sponsor of this program. Thank you very much to Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. The number to call, 678-0459, and they can have your order waiting right there on the counter when you walk in there. They're open 7:30 to 5, Monday through Friday. And with the warm temperatures, yesterday, this old fat boy, was melting a little bit. It felt good, though, and it got a little warm. Well, I bet you a lot of you turned on your air conditioners. Get a clean air filter, get a case of 12, save money at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. And they always provide warm winters and cool summers. We're going to gather up a little bit on some of the good advertisements here this morning, because at 8:30 this morning we are expecting, and I'll underline that word expecting, and hoping that United States Senator Mike Crapo will be calling in. So, and it's going to be a short interview. They told me it's only going to be about 10, maybe 12 minutes in length, so I'm going to have to stick right with it here. Don't forget Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert, and that big antique tractor show is coming up on June 19th and 20th, and they're going to have prizes and trophies and everything. That's going to be really neat over there at Valleywide Home and Ranch. All those antique tractors, I got to get over there. I wished I had time to haul mine over there. And the winner's going to get treated royally. And they've got a great fishing department over there, too, with all the fishing gear, and you can also purchase your fishing game license over there. And they got the worms, they got everything. And like I mentioned a moment ago, all 4-H'ers get 10% off on their purchases at Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Sean, Mandy, the whole crew serving you everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch at Valleywide Home and Ranch in Rupert. Really good folks. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to tell you that I had a lot, I mean many phone calls regarding the story that we talked about on Monday of this week, and that was the school summer lunch programs. Now, I came out against them, and I will remain against those programs because of a couple of things that I mentioned on the air, and I'll mention them again. That I think that they are taking away the responsibility of the parents to take care of their own children and creating government dependency, and I am against those programs. Now, with that being said, I was absolutely shocked at the amount of people that called on my cell phone, and I'll readily give that out, 312-2976, and said we agree with you. I never had one dissenting phone call. Now, that being said, no dissenting phone calls against the program. Why aren't we all speaking up and saying enough is enough? And there is a need, and I want to underline this. There is a need for some families and some children. I can understand that because of economic situations that might not avail themselves to certain people, and they need help. But When you put a no-income restriction on a program like this, and it's absolutely abusive, it's absolutely government dependency, and it takes away parental responsibility, I will fight it and I will condemn it. And I appreciate all your kind phone calls. Thank you very much. Calls welcome, 436-2244. Come on, give me a call. And 1-866-927-4587. You want to go where the equipment is ready for any job to get it done right? Well, you know that's Barry Equipment and Rental. Addison Avenue West, Twin Falls, South Lincoln, Jerome, and their great big location at 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Oh, my. Nick and Will Janes and the rest of the crew right there in Burley. And they've got 0% financing until the end of this month of June on Walker mowers. No payment for up to 120 days. All the Doosan equipment, Bobcat, Coyote lines, you better get on in there to Barry Equipment and Rental. Absolutely the best. 3 locations, Twin Falls, Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Feed that cow, will you?
Yeah, please. Thank you very much, Tony.
Zeb, I think what really, if you want to get a little impact on this program, the summer program, is find out what the actual cost would be for providing the food and the staff to do this, and what it's going to cost for the buses to run and pick these kids up. I think that'll have a real big impact on what people feel.
Well, Tony, the newspaper article the other day said that in Twin Falls, the lunch, parents can buy a lunch for a low price if they want to eat with their kids that are getting it free for $4.15 per lunch. Now, I'm assuming the same lunch would be applicable to the children, so we're talking a whole bunch of money every day in these lunch programs that I think it's ridiculous to say and brag that they're feeding over 2,000 kids. And regardless of income structure, people are driving down to the park and saying, hey, get a free lunch. Not on us. Somebody else is footing the bill. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, we're really getting hit all the way around. Our property taxes going up. These school levies, they're picking our pockets, and they're really hurting a lot of us who are on fixed incomes. And now we got to put up with something like this.
Well, you know, I know there are people out there that are upset that I'm condemning this program, and I'm not condemning it in its entirety for those that are in absolute need. But when you set it up in a park structure, kind of like it's a picnic celebration, and you say no income requirements or any specifications on limits, what you're doing is creating a society of freeloaders, and I don't like that.
That's right. We've got too many in the valley right now that are driving Cadillacs.
Amen. Tony, God bless you for your call, my friend. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
You know, there's another one. There's another call that doesn't like that program, and I had a long talk with a lady yesterday that absolutely is against this program and the abuses. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by, but I do want to tell you about a great, great place to go eat. You sit down and you pay the bill, and that is the way it should be at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch, and our next Lunch Bunch is going to be over there on June 18th. Don't miss it next week on Thursday. Oh, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we're celebrating June Dairy Month at Lunch Bunch next week. Got a whole bunch of prizes to give away. I think the way it's set up, almost everybody's going to win something. So holy smokes, be there at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley, and also their new location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. The best of food at Denny's Restaurant. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. How are you today?
Good, thank you.
Okay, about this school lunch program, I agree with you that the absolute people that need it, that are, poor and can't afford it, they do need that program. But like you say, to make it a party atmosphere where everybody can go eat lunch, that lacks a bit of fairness. And, it's just like, I'm having a hard time trying to say what I want to say here, but it's not fair because the parents that are well off, their kids get a free lunch.
Yep.
And I think that part of that responsibility of being a parent, especially if you're well off, you have a very good income and stuff, and you can afford to pay for the school lunch program. I mean, where else can your child eat for, say, $4? A good nutritious lunch. It's knock on wood here with a bit of tongue-in-cheek, considering the programs that Michelle Obama is putting into place right now. The other thing is this parental responsibility. It kind of goes back to their upbringing of the parents that are having children now. They were raised without any responsibility.
Well, hey, let me just jump in here for a minute, and I don't mean to be rude, but I'm short on time, and I want to make sure I get everybody a chance to respond. My children, I would never allow my children to partake of this program. And a lot of people say, why? Are you better than anybody else? Well, that's not the answer. The answer is I would feel very, very embarrassed if I have the means to feed my children and take care of my children. I'm not about to drive up to a city park and say, go get a free lunch. I think it should be designed for people that absolutely need it, and I think the absolute wastage of the program is used upon those that financially can afford it, but they want to be dependent on the system, and I'm against that, and I will continue to denigrate it.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
All right, sir. God bless you for your call. I do appreciate it as always. Thank you. Very nice. Thank you, sir. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I think the program needs scrutiny. I think the program needs tightening up. I think the program needs to have an abbreviated value system to who can be a part of it. But as far as just opening it up and no income restrictions, that is absolute lunacy as far as I'm concerned. Don't forget the Relay for Life, Mini-Cassia Relay for Life, where they're trying to work hard to garner funds for fighting cancer. And I say God bless them, all of them. The Mini-Cassia Relay for Life is going to be held on June 19th and 20th at the Cassia County Fairgrounds for this year, coming up in just a matter of days. And don't forget, if you would like to make a donation to the Mini-Cassia Relay for Life, contact Patty Shockey at 670-2975. That number again, 670-2975. Mini-Cassia Relay for Life coming up on June 19th and 20th, starting at 6 p.m. on the 19th with the opening ceremony at the Cassia County Fairgrounds. Don't you miss it. Give me some calls, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Wheels, I know that you've got your finger perched like a vulture right above that button that says Silver State Stampede. Could we please hear about those good people?
Follow the crowd to family entertainment at its best. The 2015 Silver State Stampede thunders into Elko July 9th, 10th, and 11th at the Elko Fairgrounds. Kicking off this weekend of rodeo action on Thursday, July 9th is the annual Stampede Kickoff Party, featuring a $10 tri-tip dinner, followed by the Old West Calcutta, Old West bronc riding, the Western Trade Show, and ending the night with live music and dancing to the sounds of the Jeff Palmer Band. The fun continues on Friday and Saturday with a full roster of PRCA rodeo action, followed by the always popular Ring of Fear, and more live music and dancing. You can get your tickets today at Roy's, the J.M. Capriola Company, the Boot Barn, IFA, or the Elko Chamber of Commerce. For more information, check online at www.silverstatestampede.com or call 777-934-6502. Follow the crowd to the 2015 Silver State Stampede, July 9th, 10th, and 11th. Family entertainment at its very best.
All right, thank you very much. And right now it's time for a dairy giveaway. I'll tell you about that in just a minute, so get ready to get on the phone and answer the question. And we want to say thank you to Dairy Queen at 2200 Overland Avenue in Burley and 5055 Lincoln in Jerome with the all-new Jurassic Smash Blizzard. Oh, smashed up peanut butter cookies and cookie dough. It's really, really good. And I'm going to give you right now a chance to win a regular free Blizzard at Dairy Queen. And we'll talk about that in just a minute, so stand by. And I also want to say thanks to June Dairy Month, Golden Valley Warehouse, 468 West, 1000 south of Burley. Royal says he's got a great bunch of guys and gals working out there at Golden Valley Warehouse, the best doggone seed outfit in Burley and Oakley Valley. And they also custom clean your own seed at Golden Valley Warehouse, south of Burley. Really good folks supporting and saying, hey, June Dairy Month, a great way to celebrate the dairy industry. Caller, I'm going to ask your indulgence to stay on the line or maybe call me back. I got a contest right now for the Dairy Blizzard at Dairy Queen. And here is the question for this hour. First person with the right answer. How far can a cow smell? I know this sounds weird, but how far can a cow smell? A, 500 feet, B, 1 mile, or C, 6 miles. How far can a cow smell? Caller, good morning. You're on the air. What's the answer? Dial tone. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Win a free Blizzard at Dairy Queen. How far can a cow smell? 500 feet, B, 1 mile, or C, 6 miles. Come on, somebody give me a call. Win it real quick. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zev. It might be wrong if I'd say C, 6 miles.
Holy cow. Riley, that's pretty good. Well, give us your full name so we know how to get the certificate to you.
Riley Hill.
All right, Riley, I knew that. Hey, stay on the line and give your address to Wheels, and we'll get that sent over to you, okay?
All right,
thank you, Riley. I appreciate it. 6 miles. I mean, that's a set of noses right there. 6 miles. A dairy cow can smell up to 6 miles. How they figured that out? Don't even ask, please. I just ask the questions that are given to me. Thank you very much. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, every Monday we give away some cinnamon rolls, too, by the way. I want to remind you to Sophie's Chatterbox at 530 East Street in Rupert, right there on the square. Oh, the people that win them love them. They're open 6 to 6 weekdays, 6 to 2 on weekends. What a bakery, what a restaurant. Sophie's Chatterbox on the square in Rupert. And, of course, on Mondays, a contest question to win a half dozen delicious cinnamon rolls. You know what we're going to roll? We got Mike Crapo calling in hopefully in just a few minutes, and I want to remind you that I am so impressed with Dr. Christine Pickup, Doctor of Audiology at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Now, she's right behind the Minidoka Hospital across from the emergency room, and the number to call for a hearing screening is 312-0957. She has helped me so much with my hearing, and I'll tell you what, uncorrected hearing loss gives rise to poorer quality of life, isolation, and reduced social activity, which can lead to depression because you can't hear what you should be hearing. So please, take my advice and call for a hearing screening today at 312-0957, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Here now, the Capital Press Ag Minute.
Today's Ag Minute brought to you by the Capital Press, the West Ag Weekly.
The strength of the U.S. dollar is expected to put a significant damper on annual exports of U.S. agriculture products in fiscal year 2015. USDA forecasts a $12 billion decline from FY 2014 from $152.5 billion to $140.5 billion. The value of exports of grains and feeds are forecast to fall nearly $6 billion. Oilseed exports are expected to decline nearly $4 billion, and livestock, poultry, and dairy are expected to drop by $2.5 billion. If realized, FY 2015 would be the lowest level of exports since FY 2012. For the Capital Press Ag Minute, I am Raul Peña.
For more agriculture news and information, turn to the West Ag Weekly, the Capital Press, and Capital Press.
Oh, I am very, very proud of Christine Pickup, Doctor of Audiology. Man, oh man, she's been an audiology doctor for over 10 years, and she really wants to help you hear again and hear everything. Please call for an appointment today at 312-0957. Write that number down, 312-0957, Mount Harrison Audiology. Let me check with Wheels and see if we have Senator Crapo on the line this morning. Is he there?
No, sir. He has not called in
Okay.
yet.
I know you will, but as soon as he does call in, please let me know. I'd sure appreciate it.
Okay.
And calls are welcome right now at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. We talked a little bit about the school summer lunch programs. I'll take your calls on that. And also, did you see yesterday, during the White House briefing session, all of a sudden the door opened up and a security guard walked in and said, "Clear the room now." There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and the options were now, out of the room. Evidently, there had been a bomb threat or a threat of some sort that was phoned into the White House about the White House briefing room with all the newscasters, etc. And that threat was taken very seriously. And out they went, and they waited until all the dogs came in, the bomb dogs, and all the other paraphernalia and technology items were brought in to check and see if the room was all right, and or the rest of the White House in that area. Very unsettling to a lot of the newscasters, and as it well should be. But it just, I do not remember, and somebody that knows better than this, remind me, but I don't remember in previous administrations, be it the Bush administration, Clinton administration, Bush 1, or whatever, I don't ever remember that having happened before, with a White House briefing room session being vacated immediately because of a security threat. I don't remember that ever before. Please, if you do, call me and tell me I'm wrong. Appreciate it. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Here is a story that warms your heart. As a matter of fact, it did more than warm my heart. It brought a lot of moisture to my eyes when I saw this again this morning. And I remembered this story from a year ago. I was watching about this brother and his little brother that has cerebral palsy. And here they are now, 15 and 8. Last year, I remember when this story broke, the older brother 14, the younger brother 7, and the younger brother, to raise and garner funds for cerebral palsy research, carried his younger brother, 7 years at that time, on his back for 47 miles. To gain donations for cerebral palsy research. Well, this year, they did it again. The older brother, 15, a high school wrestler, really, really well-built young man, and he carried his 8-year-old, now brother with cerebral palsy, not 47 miles. They went 57 miles. The old adage, he ain't heavy, he's my brother. And the bond, the love that was shared between these two, you could see it on TV this morning when they were interviewed as to why. Why would they do that? The grueling heat and the uncomfort of walking 57 miles with his 8-year-old brother on his back. And the older brother said, because my little brother and others like him, they need help. Wow. That really got to me. He ain't heavy. He's my brother. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. While I'm waiting for your call, don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Right right behind Dr. Crane's office. And the number to call for an appointment today is 678-1191. That number again, 678-1191. Nick Greenwell and his great staff of physical therapists there to serve you with all the sports medicine exercises, all the exercises, along with the hydrotherapy pool. They do an excellent job of helping you get back to being you. So call for an appointment today at 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Absolutely the best. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. We were waiting for, and this really is irritable to me because we were told that they were going to be on the air at 8:30 with the conference call with Senator Mike Crapo, and evidently something jumped in and preceded us. You know, it really irritates me regardless of the politician, because we need to blanket out the airtime for them, and then it's a no-show. Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, Helen.
I know you haven't touched on this morning, but I want to mention that big fracas down in Texas with the teenagers.
Yes.
You know, I feel sorry for that cop, because if that girl that he held down had shut her filthy mouth, there wouldn't have been a problem.
You know, Helen, that is a very valid point. This girl, 15-year-old girl with a motor mouth, and evidently she doesn't know Khmer from Sikkim when somebody gives her an order to simply shut up. Had she shut up and done exactly as the officer had said, to go stand with her other friends until they figured out who the troublemakers were, etc., but she yelled and she screamed and she wouldn't shut her mouth. There's a lot to be said for just when somebody in authority tells you to shut up, do it.
Right. You know, I really admire the cops that have got the fortitude to stick with the job. If it was me, I'd say, hey, they're your kids. You take care of them.
Well, wait a minute, though. There's a add-on to the story this morning. Last night, that officer submitted his resignation. He quit. Right. He's gone. He's off the force. But in a related story, Helen, and I'd like your comments on this, I am fed up, and I mean this, with the slanderization and the protestation against our police. Last night in Houston, Texas, a motorcycle officer had stopped a vehicle and was issuing a citation. He was standing with his back to the road. Someone drove by at that time and shot him in the back.
No, that didn't happen, please.
Yes, it did. It's absolutely ridiculous how our law enforcement is being thrown under the bus, literally. And I really want you to tell me if I'm wrong on this, because I'll stand corrected and apologize. I am pointing the finger at Washington, D.C. right now and the president for not coming out and saying something in defense of our police.
Well, not only that, but why doesn't that Al Sharpton shut his filthy mouth?
Oh, Al Sharpton.
There's more problem than Satan.
Well, he's not the only one, though, because there are Al Sharpton wannabes like the Black Reverend Ronald Wright down in McKinney, Texas, and he said something yesterday that was so stupid and yet so arrogant. He said that it's not ISIS that we, the black community, should be afraid of. It's USIS. And when he meant USIS, he meant USIS against the police forces in America. He said they're the real terrorists, and I just about jumped out of my lazy boy.
Well, I can... it's a good thing I didn't hear it. I'd probably have threw my shoe at something.
Well, the point you made a minute ago about Al Sharpton, there are all these Al Sharpton wannabes and lookalikes, and they've got the low mentality of like a box of rocks, and they stir up more trouble. And what for? Instead of being unifying, and again, I'm pointing my finger at the president and Washington, D.C., he could do a lot by getting on the television and saying enough is enough. enough. We have to respect our police forces. Yes, we have trouble in some areas, but we're going to do our best to rectify that. But we need to have respect for the men in blue that are out there serving their communities.
You will never, if you live to be 10,000 years old, hear that come out of his mouth.
I'm afraid you're right.
So you have a good day.
All right, Helen, thank you so much. You know, there's no respect for the police. No respect for the police. And when I heard this story about the officer in McKinney, Texas, resigning from the force, yeah, there were some questionable things that he did. There's no question about it, as far as subduing some of the teenagers. But, you know, that girl just would not shut her mouth. There are motor mouths in all aspects of society. When they get in trouble, shut up and go stand over there. Wouldn't do it. Just like she was vaccinated with a phonograph needle. And there is a time and a place to keep your mouth shut. And when someone in authority gives you that edict and that order, just shut up and go stand over there, no problem. But in her case, she wouldn't shut up. He did get and resort to possibly way over the line as far as the way he conducted himself, no question. But for the condemnation of all police by other blacks, not all blacks, I'm saying other blacks, like this black Reverend Ronald Wright, that is absolutely ridiculous. And I condemn them for what they said. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Lennox and Ramsey Heating and Electric offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems. Whether it's a gas furnace, air conditioner, or a heat pump, you and your family will enjoy the comfort. All you have to do is call 678-0459, Ramsey Heating and Electric, saving you money with warm winters and cool summers. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, just speak up nice and loud. I'm having trouble. The feed from the station coming over here is not up enough on sometimes when you call, but I appreciate if you speak up. Thank you very much.
Okay. I've got one problem with this free lunch program. Are we still on that subject?
You can be. I brought it up earlier. Go ahead.
Okay, my problem is I don't have a problem with kids having a free meal now and then if they're deserving of it. But, you know, they're neglecting something that made America great, and that is the senior people. What have they done? These people that are so willing to contribute to this free lunch program, what have they done for the seniors?
You know, Keith, I really appreciate you bringing that up. Man, that is an excellent tie-in right here. Here we will take the time and the effort to give no income qualifications whatsoever, the freebies, government dependency, and our seniors are having, and our senior centers are having to rob Peter to pay Paul to try to keep the Meals on Wheels programs going. That's an excellent point, my friend.
Yeah, you know what gets me, like if anyone can go out to the senior center and have a nice lunch, and they do put on a nice lunch the last time I was there.
Yep.
But the problem is they pay $5. It doesn't matter whether they can afford it or not.
Yep.
So a lot of people don't go because $5 is pretty important to them.
Uh-huh. Well, I think...
I also don't expect the government to have to pay all the way on this. But paying like, 65, 70 cents for every meal they serve, that is so wrong.
Well, I really enjoyed the fact that you called in on this because that is a great analogy of a problem. Here we're saying, whether it's in Twin Falls or Burley or Jerome, wherever, hey, come on down. The government trough is open. All the hogs can come down and eat to their heart's content free on these various programs. But at the same time, Our senior citizen centers are just absolutely trying to figure out how to rub two nickels together to keep going with the Meals on Wheels programs and everything else, and nobody's jumping in and giving them a free trough. Keith, I got to do a weather. Thank you so much for this morning.
Okay.
God bless you, man. That's a very good point. Thank you. You know, I'm glad that he brought that up, because here we have no income restrictions. And like it was said the other day by my dear friend Kiltman when he called in, they're pulling up in Cadillacs, Denali's, they're pulling up in all the new outfits, dropping the kids off, saying, hey, enjoy the government-free lunch trough. It's absolutely sickening to me. Oh, let's not forget our friends at Mad River Laser. Boy, they're handy. They can do anything. All the barbecue kits and the aprons to engrave for Dad, and the coffee mugs and the buck knives, and, of course, all the June weddings. They can help you with that, whatever you need engraved. All the business promotional items. They are so fantastic at Mad River Laser. I mean, and so inventive. I mean, they can come up with all these great ideas for you and what you need at Mad River Laser. So you call or stop in at 502 East Street in Rupert, or the number to call, 436-2293, Mad River Laser. Caller, I'll be right with you. Stand by. Here's Michael Rogers' weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers is into the ranch. It's real simple. You got rain for today, and you're going to be warm. You're going to be about 85 for the high. Now, the good news is that it's only for today and tonight. And if everything works out and falls into place, or the stars align, which has a lot to do with weather, you should come out of this on Thursday, going all the way through the weekend with some nice hot weather. Yes, you should. We just got to get through today. Now, the tricky part to this situation is with all this rain that's coming through much of the west. You're in an area where right now your forecast says you're not going to get as much as everybody else. So where am I going with this? Traveling down U.S. Highway 93, heading southbound, doesn't matter where, but from Jackpot on down, you're going to be dealing with some flooding issues. Now, the flood warnings are in effect from Wells to Ely, all the way down toward Alamo, and then it tapers off until you get to Vegas. So right now, the flooding issues are in northern Nevada. If you're planning to heading down to Elko, you're going to be dealing with that. Otherwise, if you're going to be staying home or staying in the Medley Valley, you're going to be dealing with these showers, and you should come out of it tonight and have a nice day for tomorrow. That is the forecast for tomorrow. So otherwise, enjoy the day, enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
All right, Michael, thank you very much. Brought to you by Mad River Laser. My goodness, Daddy's Day's right around the corner. All the June weddings, all the parades, and you need business promotional items made up, they can help you at Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. And caller, good morning. You're on the air.
I can just barely hear you, so I'll make my comment and then I'll hang up.
All right, go ahead. Wheels, turn me up a little bit in her head phone, if you would. Go ahead, caller. Nice to hear from you.
That's okay. I just want to have a comment. Are they having to follow the same guidelines in feeding these lunch as they do in the schools with Michelle Obama's plan? And if so, how much of it's going in the garbage like it does at the schools?
I can tell you this, caller, and I hope you can hear me say this. A lot of it is going in the garbage. A lot of it. Thank you very much, caller. Listen on the radio then. A lot of it is going in the garbage. I talked to a lovely lady that listens to this program every day yesterday, and she said you would not, using her words, you would not believe the waste, the absolute waste of what's going in the garbage, and it's pathetic. You know, here we're offering free lunches, and then it ends up in the garbage. Nothing is free, folks. Nothing is free. Someone has to pay for it. Some taxpayer money had to go into a grant money, or some money had to go into sponsor money. Money that I think personally, for the sponsors that are sponsoring these programs, why don't they say enough is enough of eating at the public trough with no income restrictions and take some of that money and go to the area senior centers and help defray the costs of the Meals on Wheels for people that have paid their taxes, people that have paid a lot of things into our society for the building of our communities. Those people really deserve the help, instead of making it so that it's a public pig trough for people to go down and just abuse the system. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to weaken my stand on this. I absolutely am against it to the point where we have taken away parental responsibility. Oh, we don't have to feed our Johnny and Susie. They just go and they eat off the federal government and create government dependency. That is wrong. And they, the ones that can afford to take care of their kids and feed their kids, they should be embarrassed. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'd like to apologize. Mike Crapo's office had told me specifically this morning, earlier, with emails that my lovely bride sent back to Washington, D.C., that they would be on the air. They're not. Yours truly gets a little bit testy about that, and I don't like that. So give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. The big manhunt, and it's turned into a marathon manhunt back in New York State for the two killers on the loose. Now, you're probably saying, well, gee, that's all the way back there in New York, really has nothing to do with us. Maybe, because number one, they don't know where they are, and number two, it should be an eye-opener as to how serious these situations can be. Now, most of the search for these two heinous killers, these are two bad guys that I would venture to say will not be taken alive or not be taken without a serious fight. They don't want to go back to prison. They're in there for life sentences, and they've already committed murders. They don't care about life. And these two killers are on the loose, and they supposedly are only within a radius of 40 miles from the prison that they escaped from. And according to some of the people that live back in that area, there have been some residents that claim to have seen, and some residents have claimed to have talked with these two bad guys. So we'll wait and see what happens. But supposedly, as of this morning when I went on the air, unless someone out there has heard something different since I started about an hour ago, they were still on the loose, but they thought that the noose was tightening, and maybe they knew where they were. So we'll see. Excuse me, calls welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Oh, and wow. I mean, wow. Cleveland Cavaliers, if you like basketball like I like basketball, I am shocked that the Golden State Warriors are playing like they're sleepwalking. They were the hottest team offensively in the NBA this year. I mean, they could score points at will, and the Cleveland Cavaliers now are one step closer to a World NBA championship. And I got to say it, whether you like him or not, LeBron James is showing and doing what's necessary to be a basketball standout, a legend. And the Cavaliers now lead the series 2-1, and I just absolutely am totally amazed as to the caliber of talent on the Golden State Warriors, and they act like, holy smokes, what just hit us in the chin? They just are sleepwalking out there. Calls are welcome. Give me a jingle. And while I'm waiting for your call, I'd like to remind you about our friends at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the free pre-trip safety check. They'll give visual inspection on your shocks and struts, and visual inspection on your brakes and your tire pressure and your front end components. I mean, and a lot more. So please stop in and see them today for the free pre-trip safety check, along with checking out all the tires. You need to go see Aunt Martha and Uncle Fred. They've got on sale right now their best passenger car tire, and that's the Ultra Z900. Woo, long tread life, smooth, quiet ride. All you have to do is check it out at any of the 7 Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Really good people. Now, what we've got for the rest of this morning, I better not bank on anything, because what have I got here? The senator sends his apologies. Thank you so much, Deanne. That helped a lot on the airtime this morning. Next hour at 9:06, we've got my old buddy Dave Bigo from Indianapolis, Indiana. And then at 9:30, this is really going to be interesting. I've looked forward to having, I hope I say her name correctly, Dr. Gracia Pozo Christie. And she's going to be talking about a bill that would make suicide with the doctors an option. And boy, she is against that. So don't miss that at 9:30 this morning. And then at 10:06 this morning, lovely lady that I called earlier this morning, and I said, could you please come on the air and talk about your appointment in the potato industry? And that's Carlene Hardy, a wonderful lady. Her and her husband Randy doing so much for the potato industry. She's going to be on at 10:06 this morning. And then at 10:32, I'm looking forward to an old friend of mine from Elko, Nevada being on the program, and that's Alki Mariluch. Man, I'll tell you, I've known the Mariluch family for years and years and years. And he's going to be on the air talking about the 2015 edition of the Silver State Stampede down in Elko. So we've got a full plate for the rest of the morning, including all of your phone calls. By the way, too, I've got to get this on real quick. There's going to be an off-road poker run. Fun deal, and sponsored by Let's Ride. This coming Saturday, the 13th, meet at the Cottonwood Trailhead at 10 a.m. sharp, and then they'll go on up to Father and Son Campground, where they will be providing a lunch served at the campground. This is open to all ATVs, motorcycles, and UTVs. This coming Saturday, starting at Cottonwood Trailhead at 10 a.m. sharp by Let's Ride. Thank you. Right now, we're going to take about a 6-minute break, and we're going to turn it back over to Wheels, and then listen to CBS News. We'll be back in 6. Don't go away. Thank you much. Oh, my. Here we go. Hour number 2, Zeb at the Ranch. And, of course, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you. Wonderful people making sure that you drive safely. Along with some of our great advertisers, including Valley-Wide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Everything, and boy, underline that word, everything, for the farm, the home, and the ranch. And they got a great fishing department over there, too, at Valley-Wide. And don't forget our friends at Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and its freedom. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
Absolutely, always at your disposal. Those are the key words. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal, and call them to get on the route service to get rid of your garbage at 734-6969. And I'll tell you something else. Now the summer season for all the picnics and the company outings and, of course, the reunions and everything, all the porta potties. Oh, my, they've got them all for you at Western Waste Services. Yep, it's true. Always at your disposal. Call for today to get on the route service to get your garbage gone. It's out of there. 734-6969. Thank you very much. You know, when I say thank you to people, I have to add Joel Heward over at Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. What a nice guy. What a nice family. And the staff, everybody just absolutely so nice and serving the community. And I say thank you. I really do. Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert with very flexible hours in order to serve you and your family. Always with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. And if you're having problems getting in there to see them, they can travel to rural towns and churches to see you, to to help with the arrangements when there's the passing of a loved one. So please remember Hanson Mortuary and the number 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, serving you and, of course, your family. Well, it is Wednesday, and I get a chance to, with my VistaVision phone, look all the way back into Indianapolis, Indiana, into the office of the reclining with his feet up on the desk, Mr. Dave Bego. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Zeb. Unfortunately, I don't have my feet up on the desk. I'm not like the president.
Oh, how true, how true. You know, really, what is this guy doing? You tell me a day in the life of the president. What is this guy doing?
Zeb, he's a puppet. I've said that many times. He's just doing what his handlers want him to do, and, you know, he just keeps going from topic to topic on purpose to keep people off balance, and so that the country doesn't really pay attention to what he's doing behind the scenes and that. And, you know, he's just... to me, Zeb, he's a typical union boss, and that's the tactics they use.
Yeah, you know, that's a very good analogy, and it leads me right up into the blog that you wrote. And by the way, the Devil at Our Doorstep blog. Dave Bego is the author of two very well done books, The Devil at My Doorstep and The Devil at Our Doorstep, along with this blog weekly. And the headline really made me sit back and look and think, California sinking. Tell us a little bit about why you wrote about California in this week's blog.
Well, Zeb, as you know, with my books, the national media will not give me much attention because they philosophically are in bed with the unions or are afraid of them. And, you know, they won't expose my book, which exposes the big labor bosses for who they are. But I do a lot of talk radio with people like you who are great people and help exposing what's going on in this country. And one of the talk show hosts that I have, I'm on, not as often as yours, but Lise Richmond out in California, she actually wrote an article on what's going on out there. The unions are infiltrating the Republican Party. And, you know, by making contributions to different candidates into the Republican Party to help them get reelected. But then, of course, in exchange, they want a payback, and that comes with and one of them for certain collective bargaining agreements where they get great benefits and paybacks for all this stuff. And, you know, this gal is waking up, and some of the other ones out there, that, you know, the politicians, it's all about keeping their jobs and their lifestyle and their money. It isn't about doing the right thing for this country, and the unions are now using the same tactics that they use against me to get these politicians to do it. They're coming to them and, you know, bribing them with money, but then they also, you know, I'm sure behind the scenes they're intimidating them, saying, if you don't do this, we're going to make sure that we put more money into your opponent's coffers to get them elected, and we're going to expose you for being a bad person. We're going to get our foot soldiers out and go after you and all that. And obviously it's working in California.
You know, Dave, when I hear stories like this, and I know it's true, I sit back and I say to myself, is nothing sacred anymore? I mean, does anybody have any moral compass? Does anybody have any backbone? And now when you're saying that they're trying to infiltrate the Republican Party to get their ways and means through the state of California, and it's possibly going to go elsewhere, it just leaves one with a cold feeling that you can't trust anybody anymore.
Well, you're right, Zeb, and, you know, I'm sure it's happening across the country in other areas. We just haven't seen it or don't have any documentation on it like this gal provided. And, you know, I'm sure that in cases that the politicians don't even want to speak up because they're afraid of saying something, because if they come out, they'll be attacked, and they just want to keep their mouth shut and go along with the unions and the people so that they don't have to go through this. Because quite honestly, Zeb, this is the same thing I saw when we fought the SEIU. most business people went along and just did what the union wanted them to do, sign the neutrality agreement, and bypass the election process and go to card check and let their people be force unionized. And they're trying to do the same thing now with our country. They're trying to force unionize our politics.
How bad is this situation, David? Do you think it's going to reach the levels that it was before somewhat of the demise of unions and your fight with the unions, specifically the SEIU, or are they gaining somehow strength? Are they gaining somehow popularity? So we're going to see that ugly head rear its powerful head one more time.
Well, I don't think they're gaining popularity, and that's the reason that they're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I think it's the other way. If you read the other part of my blog, I talk about Miriam Nojum. She's a member of the SEIU in California because she works for the Department of Motor Vehicles, and she cannot stand her union, and you know, she's got a lawsuit against them, and she's also during the month of June doing another non-germane campaign where members of her local 1,000 can vote not to have dues money taken out that goes to political purposes. And she's doing it because she and her other people, and she got about 45% of the people in that local to do it last year, they're doing it because they're seeing what's going on in California,
right.
How the dues money is being used for politics to corrupt the state, and the state is going downhill. They're losing business, they're in debt, kind of like the States is, and understand that this country cannot continue to go in this direction.
Dave, I want...
From union people all over the country, and Michigan's another big area that's doing the same thing.
Right. I want to ask you another question regarding unions, and I want you to really educate me on this. I am not a fan of the Trans-Pacific Trade Agreement. I am not. I've read through a lot of this agreement. I find that there are some loopholes that I personally think are going to hurt America. I think there are some things in there that are definitely going to hurt American agriculture. I think it's going to give more benefits to the others across the water than it will us here at home. And yet I see that by saying that, I might be almost siding with some unions that are going after Democrats. I mean, tell me about this mess. What's going on with this Trans-Pacific Trade Agreement?
Well, the unions, you know, they're against it because it could hurt jobs in this country and potentially jobs that they could unionize, and that's what that's all about. And I tend to agree with them in a lot of areas on that. Companies in this country that want to open things up and allow people to come into this country and low wages and are not even legal.
Dave, are you still there?
Banding.
We had a cutout. I think we lost my dear friend Dave Bigo, and I heard some cutouts on the line. And David, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still there.
Your phone was cutting out, and then all of a sudden we had a long pause. So go back and take it again from what you were saying a moment ago. It was starting to cut out quite frequently.
Yeah, well, I'm getting you cutting out too.
Oh,
I don't know if it's our connection or what it is.
Well, it must be the people down in Salt Lake area that are listening with the National Spy Organization.
I like it. Well, what I was saying is the unions don't like this because, you know, it could hurt jobs by having immigrants come in that take low-wage jobs, and in many cases it'll open the door to illegal immigrants, and you know, this is going to hurt them being able to organize people into unions, and of course wages overall, and they don't want to see that, and I tend to agree with them because, you know, what we need in this country is to close our borders and get our people back to work, take them off welfare and entitlement programs. And if you do that, you know, Zeb, overall, it will start raising wages back up again, and unemployment will go down.
Absolutely. What do you think is the main motivation behind the condemnation of those like me and others that have tried to look at these trade agreements with a overall, well, let's see, I'll give the devil its dues and see if that's good or bad or indifferent. But the more I look at these trade agreements, the more I say to myself, wait a minute, what about the protection for the United States? What about our workers? What about our businesses? What about agriculture? And it seems like everybody is pushing for something that is going to benefit others in foreign lands more so than us. Is that a fair assumption?
It is. It's back to this term social justice that this president has have, that they want social justice across the world, and the way to do that is let them come to America and America, take care of them and pay for them, and that. When what we really need to do in this country is to become the shining star again and continue to move this world forward and show the other countries how to do that and make their countries better through hard work and doing the right things, not through social justice.
Dave, the other day, I heard Obama stand up at a podium and mumble and stumble and babble his way through without a teleprompter. And basically, after a year and some odd months of absolute terrorism with ISIS, the beheadings, the bombings, the murders, he came out and admitted, well, we have no strategy against ISIS. What were your thoughts when you heard the president say something like that?
I wasn't surprised at all because, again, I think it comes back to this whole philosophy that they want a totalitarian socialistic world that's controlled by those that think they know everything. And, I think Zeb, he would be fine with ISIS taking over there, but he's seeing it's affecting him in the polls in the Democratic Party, and I'm sure he's getting pushback, and now he's in a position where he feels like he's got to do something, and he doesn't know what to do. Is that surprising?
Not at all, because this administration has left us all wanting, Republican and Democrat. But on another scale, I am very concerned, and you living in a major metropolis city, Indianapolis, I would imagine that you're very concerned, too, about the lack of respect for our police forces and these gentlemen and ladies putting on that uniform and every day having their lives basically being a target by the bad guys. And then we have the people like Al Sharpton and other wannabes of Al Sharpton, like that black reverend in McKinney, Texas, Ronald Wright, that said something so frivolously stupid yesterday that we don't have to fear ISIS, it's USIS. It's us against the police in this country. What are your thoughts about the way they're demonizing police forces all across this land?
Well, Zeb, I think it goes back to what I've talked about before. It's all their agenda and their program to try and bring down this country so they can take it over. And, it's kind of a divide and conquer strategy. Let's pit the races against each other and people against each other. That, the unions and the president and Soros and the other people that are involved in this, they're involved in it together. And, the unions, I think I mentioned this to you a few weeks ago in Ferguson, the SEIU was the major force behind all the unrest there and bringing people in to get the local people stirred up in that so that they come in and play the game, and then Obama could play the race game. And I think they're to destroy this country, and it's a sad thing because this country is the greatest thing that's ever happened to this world, and has done more for people of all races and colors and religions across the world to improve their way of living.
And it is so sad as to what's going on in this country. And I look at our police forces, and I'm sure you'd agree with me, that these gentlemen and ladies right now are, like I said a moment ago, targets. And yesterday, down in Houston, Texas, a motorcycle patrolman was issuing a ticket citation to a motorist. He had his back turned to traffic, and someone went by and shot the officer in the back. Is that what we're coming to in this country, is just complete chaos with no respect to the police whatsoever?
Well, I'm very concerned.
Once again, Wheels over at the station, if you get a hold of Jerry and let him know that we're losing our control on these calls to where they're cutting off. I think we've lost Dave Bego again. Dave, I don't know if you're still there, but we're having some problems this morning. Technically, trying to keep you on the air, it kept cutting off, and I apologize. Are you still there on the air with us?
Yeah, I am. You're just cutting out also.
Yeah, I have no idea what the phone line problems or if it's something at the station, but we'll have it addressed. And I just want to say I'm sorry about that, but sometimes technology is not all it's cracked up to be. Final thought. Let's end on a little brighter note this morning. If we could, Cleveland Cavaliers have shocked me, surprised me with limited resources as far as healthy players. They lead now the Golden State Warriors 2-1. What's going on here?
Well, I think bringing LeBron James back and putting some good people around him, they're coming back, and it's good to see a Midwest team leading the way, and I hope they finish it out. I really do.
Oh, boy, I knew we'd be at odds before the program ended. I'm not a fan of the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm not a fan of them winning. And you got to admit, though, you being a former basketball player, I played a lot of ball, that the sleepwalking of the Golden State Warriors caught up with them last night. When's their offense going to show up on the floor and play like they did all season long?
Well, that's the thing. They better do it pretty quick. And, plus Cleveland's playing a little bit better defense, but we still got a long ways to go in this thing. It could turn around. I think it'll be interesting as we come down to the wire. Well,
I want to apologize again for the cutouts on the program this morning. I don't know if it's a faulty phone line or what the problems might be, but Dave, I sincerely apologize and thank you for your time this morning. A dear friend of mine, great author of books, The Devil at My Doorstep, The Devil at Our Doorstep, and that's, of course, Dave Bego, and business entrepreneur. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you next Wednesday. Thank you much.
All right. Thanks, and have a great week.
God bless you, sir. Thank you. I don't know what happened, but we had those cutouts, and Wheels, if you'd check into that for me, I'd appreciate it. And hopefully it won't happen for the rest of our callers that are calling in for the rest of the morning. We'll have our next guest in just a few minutes, so stand by for that. While we have some time right now this morning, I also want to remind you that Father's Day, when is Father's Day? It's coming up on June 21st. Oh, my goodness sakes. And we'd like to thank a couple of businesses for being involved in saying Happy Father's Day. First and foremost, the Goodie Basket at 133 West Main in Burley. The number to call, 647-0106. Shelley and all the gals over there can make up a basket for your dad or your hubby with all kinds of different goodies in that basket from the Goodie Basket. That's why they call it that. And also they can deliver sandwiches and salads to the workplace, and they can deliver in the Mini-Cassia area. It is a neat business. The Goodie Basket, 133 West Main in Burley. Number to call, 647-0106. Also wishing a happy Father's Day to everybody is Magic Valley Irrigation at 44 East, 500 South of Burley. Number to call, 678-3101. Jeff and the whole crew wish all the dads happy Father's Day. And don't forget, if you're in the market for a new pivot system or need anything as far as your irrigation needs, it's Magic Valley Irrigation. Number to call, 678-3101. You give them a call today. The Relay for Life is going to be coming up, and that's on June 19th and 20th. And I again want to say thank you very much to Patty Shockey for all the information that she's given us. And the Mini-Cassia Relay for Life is going to be at the Cassia County Fairgrounds on June 19th, starting at 6 p.m. with the opening ceremonies, and then continuing till the next morning on the 20th. And they've got so much planned as they try to garner funds for the fight against cancer. And if anyone in my listening audience is interested in making a donation to the Mini-Cassia Relay for Life, please get a hold of Patty Shockey. I'll give you the number. You might not have time to write the address down, but you can remember the number, 670-2975. Once again, 670-2975 to donate to the Mini-Cassia Relay for Life. Coming up at the Cassia County Fairgrounds on June 19th and 20th. Thank you very much. We'll have our next guest, and it should be very interesting in just a few moments, with Dr. Christie talking about terrible assisted suicide bill. That'll be coming up in just a few moments. While we have a chance, I want to remind you that Let's Ride's going to be sponsoring that great big poker run leaving out of Cottonwood Campground this Saturday. And you, if you don't have an ATV, now's a great time to go buy one. Say, yeah, I want to be part of that run. Going to be fun times. Well, they've got all the ATVs right over at 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and Heyburn. That is where the fun is sold. You can bet on it. So stop over and check out all the ATVs, check out all the watercraft for fun on the lake, the river, whatever. And don't forget, too, they've got an excellent service department to take care of all your service needs and all the accessories, too, at Let's Ride, where the fun is sold, Highway 24 between Rupert and Heyburn. And don't forget, while you're over there, Cameron Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert, and, of course, all your life insurance, all your health insurance, retirement planning, and employee benefits, everything taken care of right there at Cameron Siemens Insurance. Yep, Dean and Todd, very accessible and devoted to serving you. All you need to do is just call, make an appointment at 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance. You bet. The professionals serving you. Let's go to the phone line right now and say good morning to a lovely lady. I think she's been on my program before, and I'm looking forward to talking to her this morning. And I know that she's going to correct me on the name, the way I pronounce it, and I willfully ask her to. Yes?
Sorry to cut you out, but it went to her voicemail.
Don't tell me that. Please, not with Senator Crapo not being there and then not Dr. Christie. Keep trying. Keep absolutely trying. Dialing that number and keep trying. Thank you very much. Well, that's good news. Somebody give me a call right now at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Do it in here, Deanne, please, if you would. Thank you. I know, right in here, please. And give me a call. We'll talk about any subject you want at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call, I'll remind you that we are really blessed with June Dairy Month, and we've got some great June Dairy Month sponsors, too. And tomorrow on the program, we're going to be giving away another pail of ice cream from Smith's Food and Drug right there at 937 East Main in Burley. Saluting the dairy industry and June Dairy Month. That's going to be tomorrow on the program, Smith's Food and Drug, with a pail of ice cream giveaway during tomorrow morning's show. So everybody tune in, and they salute all the dairy farmers with June Dairy Month. Also, AMI, 710 Overland Avenue in Burley. You need a fastener. AMI's got all your fasteners at AMI. Locally owned, and don't forget all the bolts, the nuts, and all the hardware. AMI has it all. Right there at 710 Overland in Burley, and they also salute the dairy industry for June Dairy Month. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587, and we'd love to have you get on the program this morning. We will, talk about anything you want to talk about. If something bothering you, well, we'll take your calls. I was talking earlier this morning about the summer school lunch programs, and evidently a lot of people are still upset about this, and I'd like to hear your comments. So give us a jingle at 436-2244. Let us know. Are you in favor of these school lunch programs with no income restrictions, letting anybody and everybody be a part of it, or do you have another idea? Would you like to see restrictions put upon it so it really helps only the people that need it? And maybe some of those same sponsors of these programs, rather than just having it be kind of a government dependency type thing for the kids of any income, any family to go use, maybe they, the sponsors, could take some of that money and trim down on that program and help contribute to the senior centers in the area for the Meals on Wheels program. What are your thoughts? Give me a call on that at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I am waiting for your call that I know is coming in, don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric can offer rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems. Whether it's a gas furnace, an air conditioner, or a heat pump, you and your family will always enjoy the comfort. That's right. They've been a Lennox independent dealer for over 50 years, so don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric can save you money with warm winters and cool summers at Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox. You better believe it. We are checking it out to see what happened to our doctor. And in the interim, give us a jingle at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are about that subject or any other. There was a lady that was severely injured at a Boston Red Sox game at Fenway Park a couple of days ago. And her name was Tanya Carpenter, and she is continuing to recover from injuries she suffered when a baseball bat broke, smacked in two, and went up into the stands, and she was right around the third base dugout. And now there is the possibility that her and her family might sue the Boston Red Sox and Major League Baseball. And I think this is wrong. There are signs all over the ballpark, as they are in every Major League ballpark. Be alert, in great big red and white letters. Be alert, foul balls and bats hurt. And those signs are put up all over Major League ballparks. I know that on the ticket stub, there's also a warning and everything, any fine print on the ticket stub or warning sign in the grandstand. But what are your thoughts? I mean, when you go to a baseball game or something like that, I think you also, as the spectator, have to assume some risk. The pop fouls, get hit in the old noggin with a baseball or a baseball bat, whatever. Is everybody going to be ready to jump up and sue? There are thoughts that maybe they can extend the netting that goes behind home plate over to the dugout area, and that probably would take care of a bat that leaves a batter's hand or a broken bat, whatever. But the assumption of risk, as far as fans are concerned, let me know what you think. Should they walk into a baseball stadium or any kind of a sporting event and not share some of the liability? You can't guarantee everybody's health at every event. What are your thoughts on that? Give me a call at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Wheels, are you there?
Yes, sir.
All right. Are you tried that number again?
Hi, Kirsty.
He's got her on the air. I believe that we have, thank you, Wheels, I appreciate that. I believe we have our doctor ready to go. Dr. Christie, good morning. How are you? Is she there, Wheels? Good morning, Dr. Christie. Are you there?
Good morning. Yes, I am.
Oh, it's so nice to finally get a hold of you. Now, I am going to say your name, and if I say it wrong, I want you to correct me. Dr. Grazia Pozzo Christie. Is that fairly close?
Yes, except I call myself Gracie.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes it even better. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Doctor, I got to tell you that when I read the piece that you had written on assisted suicide, The End of Medicine, I absolutely was brought to tears, because is that where we're headed in this country, with no value or sanctity for life? Is that where we're headed, for suicides from the doctor's office?
You know, there's a lot of different ways that physician prescribes suicide as a really bad idea. But to me, as a doctor, the one that impacts me the most emotionally is that sense that the doctor is an ally of the patient in the patient's search for life and health. And when you change that way that the doctor and the patient relate to each other, you're losing something extremely valuable that is crazy to throw out the window. And that to me is very sad.
Why, doctor, is this even coming up? I mean, with the Hippocratic Oath and the treatment of doctors and the research and the medicine improvements over the many years, why in the world is assisted suicide coming up?
I think there's a lot of materialism nowadays. People aren't as deep philosophically and religiously as they used to be. And materialism tells us that people have to be judged on their usefulness and how pleasant their lives are, and nothing else really matters. And so when somebody's not very useful, or their life they're suffering with illness, then there's this drive to give up on life entirely. It's a kind of materialism.
You know, you use the word no longer useful, and I look back in some of the history lessons that we had from ages long ago in human culture, and some, the minute they weren't contributing to anything with the particular tribe or whatever, they were put to death or they were left to starve to death. Is that where we're headed in the United States of America?
That's a tendency in human nature always, to value people only for what they can give back, you know, what they're contributing to society. That's a natural human tendency, but our religious traditions, the Judeo-Christian tradition particularly, fights back against that and says, no, people have to be valued simply because they're people, because they're humans. And yes, I think that we're losing a lot of our understanding of the real value of people, not as elements in society that contribute to society, but simply as, you know, people valuable just because they exist, just because they're people.
How can a doctor, and I know your thoughts on this, your piece was extremely well written, but how could any doctor graduate from medical school and want to hang up his shingle in support of the Hippocratic Oath and then turn around and help people literally kill themselves? I can't understand that.
Well, you have to realize, I hope that most people will get to know this as these arguments unfold, is that most doctors, the great majority of doctors, do not want to have anything to do with prescribing suicide for patients. This is very much against our education and the reason we went into medicine, which was to help people lead fuller, healthier, longer lives. So most doctors do not agree with this. So now you have some outliers that lend themselves to this practice, but this is not the majority of doctors.
Yeah, but doctor, let me ask you this. Who really is promoting this very insidious thought? Who's really promoting this? Where did this idea stem from? Who's really pushing this?
Well, the usual suspects that they've changed their name. There's the old Hemlock Society, which has been around for decades, and now they have a different name. I'm forgetting it right now. But it's the usual people that they cloak themselves in these words like compassion and the end of suffering and the right, sort of that right to determine your own destiny. They use those words, which we all can relate to, but what they're really pushing for is a more utilitarian and materialistic view of life that very often ends in death and a forced death.
There was one paragraph in your piece that when I read it, it left an indelible mark in my mind, and I'll read it, and then I'd like you to comment on it. You said, quote, "To make death by poison, one of the arrows in the doctor's quiver is to change the entire profession. How can a patient trust in his physician if death by prescription is just one of the many routine management options and perhaps the easiest and most cost-effective?" That was a powerful, very cold statement. What are your thoughts on what you wrote?
Well, that is such a scary proposition that a patient should have to look into his doctor's eyes and imagine that the doctor is taking his life and saying, you know, maybe it would be better to give up on my patient right now. Maybe I've done enough. Maybe society has spent enough money on him. Maybe it's time to say goodbye to him and offer him, you know, the way out. It's a terrifying thought to me that a patient would have to see that in his doctor's eyes. That's exactly what we don't want in medicine.
Well, doctor, and I don't mean to put you down or put you on a spot here with Obamacare and how it's becoming not effective or cost effective for people to be a part of it. But isn't that what's happening right now in medicine, is that we're looking at lives as a dollar sign, and in the future it might even become more pronounced to where, well, it's not cost effective to keep old Bernie alive, so let's just let him die or give him a pill. Isn't that what it's coming to?
When you take medicine and you make it a one-size-fits-all option and you make it part of, you know, a big federal program, and yes, then everything comes down to dollars and cents. I think Obamacare does have that tendency to put everything in the, you know, to put healthcare into the purview of the state entirely. And so then the state gets to decide, you know, politicians get to decide, in essence, where these healthcare dollars are going to be spent. And there's nowhere else. These dollars aren't coming from anywhere else, from private industry or. So yes, I think there's a huge danger with Obamacare to leave all this up to the state. And I don't know about you, but I don't think politicians are the best people to decide who should live and who should die.
Oh, no. I mean, I'm sitting here and it gives me a very cold feeling. I'm 67 years old right now, and I feel like I'm still a contributing asset to our society because of being a taxpayer, etc., keeping my job, keeping my business alive. But all of a sudden, in 5 or 10 years, things will change. Are they going to come up to me and say, sorry, old man, but you're not a necessity anymore, and if you need medical help at the hospital, I'm sorry, you're just going to have to go home and die. This is a cold, cold country of anyone that would be associated with that concept.
In some countries where socialized medicine is the norm, or that's what they have, in those countries, they have age limits for things like dialysis, life-saving dialysis.
Oh, my.
So when you get to be a certain age, you're not eligible anymore. And in this country, so far, we've been able to avoid that kind of determination of a person's worth according to their age or their usefulness. But movements like this, the assisted suicide movement, and the federalizing of all healthcare, are moving us towards that other model.
Dr. Christie, let me ask you another question that just dawned on me. What about medical schools? Are they being infiltrated with this kind of thought as to use kind of a hemlock society as an option on patients, or has it not yet gone into the medical schools?
I don't believe it's touched the medical schools in any broad way. I can't speak to every little medical school, but in general, the idea of a doctor, a physician, is that the doctor stands between the patient and the patient's death, between the patient and the patient's illness. So I hope that remains, and I can tell you that all the major medical societies of the United States are firmly against physician-assisted suicide.
I'm sitting here and there's 1,000 questions I've got. I mean, you could have one disgruntled family member that sits there and says, well, the more money we spend on trying to keep Uncle Ralph alive, the less there'll be in the settlement of his estate. So they go to the doctor and they say, hey, slip him a pill, we'll get rid of him, and then we'll have more money left for the family. That's really not out of the realm of possibility, is it?
That is such a danger, and it's even sadder than that. I mean, a person who's an older person, and there's so much money left to take care of her, he or she may be convinced by some rapacious family members to choose a quicker exit because they're not going to leave enough money behind, or they're becoming a burden. And then even if family members don't want them to commit suicide, that person may feel driven to do so because they are a burden. They are a burden on their family, and this option exists. This option is on the table. So it's very sad to have that option on the table at all.
We are turning, and I'm going to say up front, I'm a very religious person. I'm a Christian. I believe in Christian values. And here we go. This is another instance and another example, Dr. Christie, where I think Christianity and Christian principles are being thrown down in the mud and stomped on. Would you agree with that?
This move towards assisted physician-prescribed suicide, this move is only one of a huge assault on religious freedom in the end. It's an assault on the Judeo-Christian values that have made this country great, and a place where everybody in the world would rather live than where they are. And this is just one of them. It's an assault on the idea that all men are created equal, and that they all deserve that same protection under the law.
But what do we do? I'm not trying to be pinpoint or try to pin you down on this subject or try to come up with a complete comprehensive answer. But what do we do? I mean, do we voice our concerns not only with our legislators, our senators, and our congressmen? Do we tell our doctors? I mean, how do we make sure that this insidious program is not accepted as the norm?
We, as individuals, as citizens, as friends, as neighbors, we all have to be more vocal. We all have to be more courageous and more willing to step up and say very strongly, at a dinner party or after church on a Sunday, or step up and say, listen, I read about this. This is wrong, or I feel strongly about this. And go ahead and be against the tide in society. I think it's very, it's a little scary these days to make a statement that's unpopular in certain circles. But I think we all have to do that.
Last thought here this morning, Dr. Christie. This thought, this movement, this absolute Satanism is what I think it is. How far along is this? I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 not being so important, 10 being very serious, where would you put this problem right now?
The physician-assisted suicide problem, or the general problem?
The general problem of public acceptance of suicide being assisted by physicians. Where are we on the 1 to 10 scale for really being concerned about this?
We should be very concerned because many states are considering this. I think the number is 18. At 18 states have this somewhere as a proposal before their legislatures.
Oh, my.
In California, the Senate just approved an assisted suicide measure, and there's a lot of money being spent by the people who are looking for death. They're spending a ton of money. So I think we all should be very concerned. This sends a very bad signal to all the people of the United States that could possibly consider ending their lives.
Oh, my goodness. And I would say this, and I think you would concur, that unfortunately, as California goes sometimes on various issues, so does the United States in general. And this is something to really concern ourselves with, isn't it?
Yes, because California seems to be on the vanguard of a lot of these progressive ideas, and they do seem to herald what's going on. But the rest of the country, we're strong, and we can unite, and we can fight back against these terrible utilitarian ideas of human life.
Oh, my goodness. I am so glad that I talked to you this morning. I'm going to start my own little movement to find out more and find out how our state legislators feel about this, if it's ever been brought up to them to try to introduce this legislation. I certainly appreciate it. Dr. Christie, I will be back in touch and have you back on the program again in the future. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us this morning.
Oh, you're welcome. It was a pleasure. Anytime.
Thank you very, very much. Dr. Gracie Christie from Miami, Florida. You know what? That just leaves me cold. That just leaves me cold. That doctors would be basically in their black bags carrying pills that, oh yeah, Uncle Ralph or Grandpa Jimmy or whomever, just give him a pill. We'll let him croak this afternoon at 3 o'clock and save the rest of the estate for the family. Why? Oh my, what kind of a society are we turning into, or even considering assisted suicide through the doctor's offices, a means to basically destroy medicine? It would destroy medicine in this country, and for that matter, the world. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, I'm upset about this one. Anyhow, I got to get the weather forecast in here. And the weather is brought to you by Duck Ugly, 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. Oh, my goodness, great meals. I mean great meals. I love eating there, and you will too. And it's the place to go for all the top-notch entertainment, too. On Fridays and Saturdays, delicious smoked ribs, along with the rest of the menu choices, and you are going to love those ribs. Omar does a job, let me tell you. And don't forget, too, they serve breakfast Monday through Friday with the delicious, absolutely fantabulous Duck Ugly burritos. Oh, my goodness. You better get a hold of them today. Stop in. Duck Ugly's 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. And right now, here is Michael Rogers' weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers is in at the ranch. It's real simple. You got rain for today, and you're going to be warm. You're going to be about 85 for the high. Now, the good news is that it's only for today and tonight, and if everything works out and falls into place with the stars align, which has a lot to do with weather, you should come out of this on Thursday going all the way through the weekend with some nice hot weather. Yes, you should. We just got to get through today. Now, the tricky part to this situation is with all this rain that's coming to much of the west, you're in an area where right now your forecast says you're not going to get as much as everybody else. So where am I going with this? Traveling down U.S. Highway 93, heading southbound. Doesn't matter where, but from Jackpot on down, you're going to be dealing with some flooding issues. Now, the flood warnings are going to affect from Wells to Ely, all the way down toward Alamo, and then it tapers off until you get to Vegas. So right now, the flooding issues are in northern Nevada. If you're planning to heading down to Elko, you're going to be dealing with that. Otherwise, if you're going to be staying home or staying in the Mojave Valley, you're going to be dealing with these showers, and you should come out of it tonight and have a nice day for tomorrow. That is the forecast for tomorrow. So otherwise, enjoy the day, enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
All right, Michael Rogers weather. And don't forget, brought to you by Duck Ugly. What a great place. 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. And don't forget, great entertainment. I mean, names like Ned Carter and Emily and Callie, Barton and Bowler, just to name a few. I mean, it is a fun place, a great place to go. Enjoy a meal and great entertainment at Duck Ugly's, West Highway 30 in Burley. Oh, and by the way, June Dairy Month going on, and we want to say thank you to Joe Taylor Realty, 1826 Overland and Burley. Joe always gets involved and always helps out community events, and he's a big supporter of the dairy industry right here in the state of Idaho. And Joe Taylor, of course, and his realty abilities, one-stop shopping, a member of both the internet and multiple listing service. Joe has years and years of experience. This man is so well known in the community and has so much knowledge on real estate. Please give him a call for all your needs. Joe Taylor and his realty company, 1826 Overland and Burley, 678-9400. Really a nice man. Coming up next hour, what have we got cooking here? Let's take a look at our schedule. And I'm almost ready not to go along with schedules the way they've got shot out of the saddle this morning. However, I know this lady, and I know she'll be ready. We're going to talk to a lovely lady, Carlene Hardy, out at Oakley about her appointment to the United States Potato Board. And she's going to talk about being involved with the promotion of potatoes on a nation and worldwide basis, so stay tuned for that. And then at 10:30 this morning, we're going to have Alki Mariluch, my old buddy from the Silver State Stampede down in Elko, Nevada. So we got a lot of things coming up. Once again, tonight, team rope in Jerome County Fairgrounds starting at 6:30 with sign-up, rope at 7, and Dave Zanino, the man that puts on the summer team roping series at the Jerome County Fairgrounds starting again at 6:30, rope at 7 tonight. We're going to take a little break for about 6 minutes, turn it over to Wheels. We'll be right back. Oh, welcome back. Hour number 3, Zeb at the Ranch, and of course with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you, and service is the key word. And along with them, some of our great advertisers that include Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Give them a call, get on the route service, 734-6969. And our dear friends over at Valley Wine Home and Ranch. Oh my goodness sakes, if you're a 4-H'er, save 10% of the purchase, and they support the 4-H'ers all over this area up and through the fair time here in the Magic Valley. 910 South Oneida in Rupert, Valley Wide Home and Ranch. Hey, what's the special over at the Chadwick Sports Grill today for lunch? Listen to these. I love this kind of food. Spicy Italian burgers with salami and pepperoni, served with choice of side and soup or salad. Love it. Always great specials and great menu choices at the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Today, spicy Italian burgers with salami and pepperoni. Woo-hoo! At the Chadwick Sports Grill, it's going to be good. You'd better be there. Real quick, I also want to say thank you again to our friends with Lennox. Yes, Lennox Home Comfort Systems with Ramsey Heating and Electric. And, of course, qualified rebates on Lennox Home Comfort Systems, gas furnaces, air conditioners, and heat pumps. You and your family will always enjoy the comfort. 678-0459, the number to call Ramsey's. And you will enjoy warm winters and cool summers with Ramsey and, of course, Lennox. The next lady that's on my program this morning, I want to say how much I appreciate her being so nice and so cordial. First of all, with me waking them up this morning because they had a late night run from California back home, and I asked her if she'd come on the program this morning, and she very, very friendly said yes. Carlene Hardy of Oakley, elected recently to the United States Potato Board Executive Committee. Good morning, Carlene. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Zeb?
Well, you know, I've got so much respect for you and your husband, Randy, and your family and everything, and I know that you're busy not only being on the potato board, but also you're playing grandma today and taking care of all the grandkids, right?
Yes, I am.
Which is a harder job?
Oh, being the grandma is fun.
Okay. Now tell me, what are your duties now that you're on the executive committee for the United States Potato Board? What does that mean?
When I was on the administrative committee, we had almost the same meetings. On the executive committee, of course, we have to be responsible for all of the programs and everyone that is working under the United States Potato Board. And so there are a few extra meetings, mostly with what I've been called in to do as the research committee. The research committee is brand new. I'm learning a whole new set of information because Randy and I have been involved in the international committee for years and years. So what I am doing at this point is learning about the program that I need to then share that information with our board members and help them understand why the research that we are doing is important.
Okay. Now, what about the potato? Let's go back about maybe 18 months ago or maybe even longer, and Michelle Obama, Mama Obama from the White House, was involved, and then there was also some close scrutiny by the dietitians, so-called people that knew what we should eat instead of what we wanted to eat. What about the potato? Is it still getting the close scrutiny that it did 18 months ago?
You know, it comes and goes, and sometimes we don't even have to worry about what is being said and done, and there are other times when, just for example, just a couple of days ago, in the EU, they came out with another study that's telling us that fried potatoes are not good for us, and, you know, talking about the different nutritional guidelines, etc., and cause... We're always worried about the wrong press coming out and saying, no, potatoes are bad for you. And when that information comes out, then our responsibility on the potato board is to have facts and be able to take care and disseminate the truth of the matters, and that is something that is ongoing.
Do most people that you run into, Carlene, whether it's in New York, Florida, California, or even here, do they really understand the value, the nutritional value of America's favorite vegetable, the potato?
I believe everyone loves potatoes. You know, they love potatoes. They know basically that they're good for you. Our responsibility and challenge is to make sure that we have the facts out in front of us and in our brains if we can keep them there. I do better with something on paper. Anyway, you know, for example, the variety of nutrients that are available, potassium, vitamin C, B6, dietary fiber, magnesium, all of those are in the potato. And it doesn't matter how you serve that potato up, they're still there. And for example, we've been told that a lot of the nutrients are in the peel of the potato, and a baked potato without the skin provides 676 milligrams of potassium, which is the same amount as 2 medium bananas. That type of information, if we share it, begins to resonate a little bit, and people say, oh yeah, I do need to eat this potato. And one thing that I'm involved with now on the research end of it is APRI. We've talked about them before. Maureen Story is the president and CEO, and the U.S. Potato Board, along with processors and state organizations, fund the work that they do, but it's all science-based research, and it's the Alliance for Potato Research is what that acronym is. And the information that they bring out is so helpful because science-based, you know, you can't argue with that. Right. Unless, like you say, you know, they have an agenda in the White House or whatever. But we actually have been able to just put down a lot of those myths that come along, and it's been incredibly helpful. You remember the school lunch battle that we had, and it was through the research that the United States Potato Board helped fund that we were able to finally wake people up that, you know, back in D.C., and they're saying, oh, you know, this is science-based, maybe we better pay a little more attention. And it took how many years? I don't even remember how many years. But those are the things that are very important, and that we as a potato board are working on day in and day out to make sure that the potato itself is able to maintain the good nutritious image. And, you know, also there are things that come into it that the average cost of a serving of potato is only 25 cents.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So there's those types of information I think are really important for us to share. But as far as the potato itself goes, I think most people love potatoes, and they realize that yes, they are good for me, and that's why it's important when this other information comes out that we have readily available information that's science-based to say, okay, now wait a minute, APRI has been working on the oils, fats and oils,
right.
And trying to take care of that myth that, potatoes, French fries, etc. are awful for you. Well, your body needs fats and oils. And so those are the types of research that they do, and they work with other scientists and put all of this together, and then we get that information back in through newsletters, bloggers, etc., and share that information with those who are concerned about the nutritional value of the potato or the oils or whatever it might be, acrylamides, all of those things that come out in the news. So basically, that is the responsibility.
Let me ask you this question. What about the potato around the world? Do other countries, especially those that have many, many hungry people that go to bed hungry every night, is the respect for what the potato can do and how it will help their situation, is it recognized around the world?
Yes, it is, and that is the versatility of the potato, both in nutrient content, the cost of the potato, the opportunities that we are finding to be able to share. For instance, the dehydrated potato with our international food assistance programs and reverse trade missions. That potato in countries that maybe have had a disaster come through of whatever kind, or just poor countries, third world countries who have children starving, school-age children that aren't going to school because they're at home trying to earn enough money just to feed themselves and help with the family, that type of thing. Those potato flakes, we're able to have nutrient added, plus very easy to get potable water, boil the water.
Right.
There you've got that nutritious meal that's available, and it's amazing what I have been able to learn through that food assistance program and the PBOs, the private voluntary organizations who are feeding the world. And it's an amazing work. It really is.
I've got to ask you this question because you are a hometown gal that attended Oakley High School, and now you married Randy and are living right there, spud business and raising potatoes, farming. Did you ever in high school anticipate that you would be doing what you're doing today?
Absolutely not. It is totally amazing to me still to look back at where we started and where we are at this point. And Randy and I started out in the potato meetings, the circuit that we've followed, when it was in the early 80s when we actually traveled with Winslow Whiteley, Randy's uncle, to National Potato Council meetings, and that was kind of the start. And in 1994 is when we became involved with the United States Potato Board. And it has evolved through the years to where, the Idaho Potato Commission, the National Potato Council, United States Potato Board, this is a family to us now, the people that are involved in all of this, and we get to travel nationwide and learn people's cultures, see the farming communities, the differences, the challenges, all of these things, and that type of travel. Are you kidding me? The first time I got out of Idaho practically was when Randy and I went on our honeymoon down to Lake Tahoe, and I got to go see the ocean also. So yes, it is amazing. I'm not real sure how I got here.
Yeah, I'm amazed at how you, as a lady that's involved in farming with your husband Randy, all the other things that you do. And I noticed that when I went through kind of a resume, I noticed that you of all people should be an advisor to those that are critical of nutrition, because you know more about it. You're into running, you're into swimming, you're into teaching swimming as an instructor. You know all about health and fitness, and there you are also involved in farming and promoting the potato. Why don't they knock on your door and really get somebody that understands nutrition rather than some of these wannabes?
It's really interesting where that actually evolves from, because in my position, I'm a mom and a grandma, and these are things that have been necessary for me to be able to raise a healthy family and enjoy the lifestyle that we do. When you get to those who come in and start trying to dig up negative things that would make people think, oh, gee, I'm not going to eat that potato, it's bad for me, I really am not sure why that element is out there, but it's the same in any industry. There's someone that's always wanting to come in and say, now, wait a minute, what you're doing really is not in the best interest of our people, so we don't want you to do it. Same thing, you're looking at protecting salmon, which, that's great, but is that important over the need to raise food for the people in our country?
Absolutely.
And sustain livelihoods. Those things I don't really understand. I don't have an answer.
And I want to get into a little bit more of a personal aspect, Carlene. Okay. One of the subjects that I am near and dear to, because I swam competitively all through high school and into college, I noticed that you are an American Red Cross lifeguard trainer and part of the Learn to Swim instructorship. Boy, I think there's more people that ought to pay attention to you and make sure that their kids know how to swim. I think it's extremely important. Your thoughts on that, please.
Absolutely. That has been one of my passions through the years. I grew up in our little community, and a lot of people are, amazed that we have a large swimming pool, diving area, etc. But where I got involved, I taught myself to swim when I was younger, like second grade probably, and as we came up through the years, they needed lifeguards over at that swimming pool. And with very little training, me and a few of my friends ended up in that lifeguard chair. And I felt a responsibility to learn more about how I could save lives, how I could be responsibly the person that comes forward and says, okay, this is what we need to do. So I started taking classes. And one thing that you mentioned, of course, is staying physically fit, and it all works together. But in a farming community where there is running water, around every corner, our children need to know that if they end up in the water unexpectedly, that they can save their own lives.
Absolutely.
And that basically was the pull that I had. Other than I absolutely love to swim, that's inborn. But to make sure my children and the people in our community were safe, were able to not only save themselves, but know how to react in an emergency situation.
Final thought here this morning, Carlene, and I salute you and Randy for your involvement in agriculture, especially the potato industry. But when you look at the overall aspects of American agriculture, as now we're still involved with the Obama administration, and then next year, a new presidency, more new leadership coming in. What about the future of American agriculture? How does that crystal ball look as far as the future?
I believe that our challenge is to make sure that we are raising the next generation of farmers. That's a real concern, and it's an excellent lifestyle that we enjoy, and we would never even imagine ourselves doing anything different, but it's a lot of hard work. There's risk around every corner, and I think that's one of our big challenges, not only to be able to come through all of the bad information that comes out that scares people about what types of food they're eating and what's being used to raise those crops, etc. But we need to have a next generation prepared to take over. We're not young anymore, Zeb.
I know that.
To the point, and so that I think that's a challenge, a huge challenge.
What do we do, though, to promote American agriculture better than we have? You know, you've heard it, Carlene. Many people, and unfortunately some involved in politics, are saying, well, if we can get it someplace cheaper and import it, let's do that. I've only got a minute and a half left, but respond to that, please.
That is a challenge. That is a problem, and that mindset is in America. There are people that don't understand how important our agricultural base is in the country, and if all of a sudden something pulled off the commodities that we as farmers are able to have readily available throughout the nation, then somebody would sit up and say, oh my goodness, they are important. And I think we work closely with our legislators, both within the state and nationally, to preserve the programs to help us to be able to continue to go forward and have the support to develop new ideas, innovations that will help us to continue to feed the world.
Absolutely. Now, I do not know how many of your 27 grandchildren are there, but would you please go get them an ice cream bar and tell them they were very, very well behaved while we were on the air?
I will do that, but I had a little bit of a trick. We had a babysitter standing by until I got home to take over for her, and she graciously said, yep, I can keep them for another hour. So that's why they were so well behaved.
Oh, God bless you. And this lady, now a new member to the United States Potato Board Executive Committee, Carlene Hardy. God bless you, and say hello to Randy, and thank you so much.
I will do that. Thank you, Zeb.
Take care. I just really enjoy those folks out at Oakley, and they've been so nice to me and so good to me and my wife, and I certainly appreciate it. And there's a lady, when people say, well, I don't have time to do this, that, or the other, just look to Carlene Hardy, and she's an example for someone that really knows how to maximize her time and be so beneficial to so many things in her community and for her state. I really compliment her. We got to pay some bills here real quick, and I want to remind you that on Thursdays, that's tomorrow at 10:30, we have a special segment on the program called Vicky's Country Garden Presents Gardening for Idiots, and the name Gardening for Idiots, of course, named after me and my lack of gardening skills, but I am getting better. And don't forget Vicky's Country Garden, packed to the gills when they have everything for your gardens, your flower beds, all the outdoor decorative moments with the rock and all the other things to really make your house look really, really neat. They can do it all right there at Vicky's Country Garden, 185 South, 600 West of Paul, and the number to call her, 438-5663. Vicky's Country Gardens at 10:30 tomorrow morning. All right, we are going to take a little break, and when we come back, we're going to be visiting with a very dear friend of mine, and that's Alki Mariluch out of Elko, Nevada, talking about the 2015 Silver State Stampede. But before I send it back over to Wheels, I want to remind you, Let's Ride is sponsoring an off-road poker run, and that's going to be this Saturday, June 13th, up at the Cottonwood Trailhead, starting at, don't be late, they're not going to wait wait for you at 10 o'clock sharp. And then they'll drive on up to the father and son campground, and lunch will be served. And it's open to all ATVs, motorcycles, and UTVs. Welcome. Once again, the Fun Time Off-Road Poker Run sponsored by Let's Ride this Saturday, June 13th, Cottonwood Trailhead. Everybody be there no later than 10 o'clock. We're going to send it back over to Wheels. We'll be right back in just a few minutes.
And now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb.
Oh, welcome back to our Down the Stretch part of the program as we're in the last half hour. Good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell. And with me on the telephone right now is an old friend, and I can say old with a lot of emphasis because we've both got a lot of gray hair. And good morning to the Silver State Stampedes, Alki Marilush. Good morning, Alki. How are you?
I'm good. How are you today, Zeb?
Not too bad. I would imagine, my dear friend, that you and the rest of the board members down there at the Silver State Stampede in Elko, right now you're kind of tying up all the loose ends and ready for July 9, 10, and 11. What's going on?
Well, we are. We're having, we're meeting every night and getting things tied up. We have our kickoff party on the 9th, on the Thursday night, where we have the Old West bronc riding and a barbecue, and then music, and then on Friday and Saturday we have the PRCA rodeo, the Stampede.
Right.
So we got a lot going on.
Elkie, tell everybody, now this Old West bronc riding, what exactly is it? What does it do? I mean, what makes it so appealing?
Well, it's set up for the cowboy on the ranch, that the buckaroo that he gets on the horse in the morning and, it just turns into a wild ride. And they come out of the chute just like the PRCA guys, but they ride a stock saddle. They can use both hands, and the wilder they make it look, the higher they can score. And it's a good event. We get some good wild horses from our contractor, and the crowd really likes it.
Now, some of these cowboys, as you said, they're professional, everyday ranch cowboys, but they're coming from quite a ways around the country. What's the farthest you think you might have come in this year?
Well, we get some out of Oregon and some out of Idaho, and I know in the past we had some from Texas and Arizona and New Mexico. We don't have the entries in yet, so I don't know where the furthest one will be from this year.
Okay. Now, Thursday night on July 9th, you're going to have, first of all, kind of a kickoff party. What's going to happen there?
Well, we have a local guy that cooks really good tri-tip, and we have a barbecue, and then we'll do we have mutton busting, and then we have a Calcutta for these guys in the Old West bronc riding, which is they auction them off, and whoever wins, the guy who bought them in the Calcutta wins money too. So you get to compete as a spectator. You get to compete.
Okay.
And it's real popular too.
All right. Now that night, are they going to buck a certain amount of cowboys in the Old West bronc riding, or are they going to leave it all for the performances?
We will buck we limit it to 30 riders, and every one of them will go on Thursday night. So, and then on Friday and Saturday, half of them will go each night.
Okay.
And so they'll each get on 2 horses.
Now, during the day, let's stop right there for a second, Alki, and tell everybody this is a big, big event for not only Elko, but the surrounding area as well. Now, they all attend the kickoff party on Thursday night, July 9th. What else is there to go and see and do during the daytime in Elko and get ready for Friday night and Saturday night, the PRCA Rodeo? What else is going on?
Well, we got, it's summertime down here. There's a lot of things to do. They can go out to
the canyons, or they can go out to the, that California Trail Center. It's pretty interesting, and they can go to the casinos if they want to. There's just a lot going on. There's some nice Western stores and just a lot of things to do down here.
And you got a great museum right there in Elko too, don't you?
We do. It's really nice. It's got wildlife from all over the world in there, and then it's got the local artifacts and museum items. It's nice.
All right, now we're back over there at the rodeo grounds on Friday night, July 10th. Tell us a little bit about the PRCA rodeo. What's going to happen on Friday night?
Well, it's going to be pretty good. We got Bar T Rodeos out of Utah. They're one of the best in the West, and they never fail to bring the best stock they have. And this year we've increased our prize money, almost doubled our prize money for each event, for the rough stock events, and we're expecting some pretty top caliber competition. So we'll have all the events: bareback, saddle bronc bulls, in the calf roping, team or tie down roping, team roping, steer wrestling, barrel racing. So and then we'll also have the Old West bronc riders in there too.
Okay.
Right.
All
and
right.
the mutton busting. We kick it off with the mutton busting.
Okay. Now, I know that there's something else that everybody has grown accustomed to in Elko at the Silver State Stampede, and that's right after the last bull ride, you've got something called the Ring of Fear. What does that mean?
Oh, yeah. Nobody leaves before the Ring of Fear is over, and I wouldn't be surprised if people come just for that, because it's just crowded around that little pen. They put 6 guys out there, and they stand in a painted circle, and they turn one of those fighting bulls loose, and the last guy to stay in the circle wins the money. So sometimes it can last a couple minutes. Sometimes it only lasts 15 seconds, and the bull clears them all out. But it's wild.
It gets wild. Is there truth to the rumor that you're going to enter this year?
Yeah. Did you know all the board members are going to be in it, but there's only 5 of us, so we put you in the 6th spot.
Yeah.
The only in it too.
Yeah. The only reason you wanted me is because a guy on crutches is an easy target.
That's right. We are setting up a handicapped circle for you, so you're going to get the best spot.
I'll tell you what, I think I'll pass. But then after the Ring of Fear, you're going to have a great big Western dance each night. Is that right?
Yes, we do. Even the night of the kickoff party, we have dancing, and then each night after the rodeo, we have a live band, and it goes until pretty late at night, till people get tired and go home. So they have a lot of fun there.
Elke, it takes a lot of sponsorships, and it takes a lot of people to make a rodeo or an event like the Silver State Stampede a success. Anybody you want to thank this morning?
Oh, we'd like to thank all of our sponsors. We have hundreds of sponsors that kick in money. We couldn't do anything without that money, and it's hard. We have probably a few hundred people that work on this thing throughout the year and during the rodeo. So I could be here all day thanking people, and I'd still miss some.
Another thing too, Elke, there's a lot of people up here that are listening in southern Idaho that are saying, hey, we'll plan on coming down to Elko, Nevada, but can they buy advance tickets? How do they go about getting tickets?
There's a few different places that sell tickets early. One is Capriola's, and I didn't put them on my list. I can't remember who the other ones were, but you could probably go on our website and get information, or Facebook, and but the prices this year for the kickoff party for that barbecue and the Old West bronc riding is $10.
Okay.
You you can't get a meal for $10, let alone get a meal and a rodeo. So that's pretty good. And then on the night of the Stampede, it's $15 for adults and $35 for a family, and $5 for kids, $10 for seniors.
Okay.
So
now tell us a little. Tell us a little bit about the rodeo itself. Now, your rodeo and the committee, the Silver State Stampede, you folks have won awards as being one of the top rodeos in the Wilderness Circuit, have you not?
We have. We've won the best small town rodeo a few times, and quite a few. I think we won it this last year too. I saw that we brought a new plaque home from the circuit finals that was for the best small town rodeo in Nevada, and so it's a good rodeo, and it's got a good reputation.
All right. Well, I want to tell you how much I appreciate your coming on my program this morning. A dear friend, has been for a long time, Alki Mariluch down there in Elko, Nevada. Say hello to the rest of the committee. God bless you, and we will see you down there in Elko July 9, 10, and 11. Thanks, Alki.
Thank you. We're looking forward to seeing you.
All right, my friend. Take care. God bless. Very, very nice. You betcha, buddy. Very nice people down in Elko, Nevada. The Silver State Stampede for 2015. And those folks know how to put on an event. Those folks know how to put on a rodeo, and they do an outstanding job. That is 3 days right there in Elko, where the cowboy reigns supreme. And it's a lot of the Old West with that Old West bronc riding. Oh, look out, that gets wild and woolly. And then, of course, on Friday and Saturday night, the PRCA rodeo action. Really going to be a lot of fun. You know what? I've got to get a weather forecast in here. Old Wheels will be chomping on the bit, and I got to keep him satisfied over there at the main studios. Well, the weather this hour is brought to you by Scarro's Meats, and they're located at 331 North Road, Jerome, and the telephone number to call, 324-7657. Don Scarrow and the rest of the crew, really with delicious specialty meats. Everything is just absolutely phenomenal. The beef, the pork, I mean everything. And of course, you're going to just give them a call and find out how delicious you can enjoy great eating one bite at a time. So please get a hold of Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657. And now here's Michael Rogers weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers is at the ranch. It's real simple. You got rain for today, and you're going to be warm. You're going to be about 85 for the high. Now, the good news is that it's only for today and tonight. If everything works out and falls into place with the stars align, which has a lot to do with weather, you should come out of this on Thursday going all the way through the weekend with some nice hot weather. Yes, you should. We just got to get through today. Now, the tricky part to this situation is with all this rain that's coming to much of the west. You're in an area where right now your forecast says you're not going to get as much as everybody else. So where am I going with this? Traveling down U.S. Highway 93, heading southbound. Doesn't matter where, but from Jackpot on down, you're going to be dealing with some flooding issues. Now, the flood warnings are in effect from Wells to Ely, all the way down toward Alamo, and then it tapers off until you get to Vegas. So right now, the flooding issues are in northern Nevada. If you're planning to heading down to Elko, you're going to be dealing with that. Otherwise, if you're going to be staying home or staying in the Magic Valley, you're going to be dealing with these showers, and you should come out of it tonight and have a nice day for tomorrow. That is the forecast for tomorrow. So otherwise, enjoy the day, enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
All right, Michael, thank you very much. Excellent forecasting of our weather right here in this area. Thanks to MichaelRogersWeather.com. And thanks also to Don Scarrow and Scarro's Meats. They sell taste one bite at a time. Call them at 324-7657 or stop in at 331 North Road, Jerome, Scarro's Meats. You know what I think I'm going to do right now? I think I am going to give away a free pail of ice cream from Smith's Food at 937 East Main in Burley for June Dairy Month. And I'm going to ask you, I think it's an easy question, but we'll see. The first person that can call 436-2244 or 1-866-927-4587 with the right answer What flavor ice cream is America's favorite? What flavor of ice cream is America's favorite? Give me a call. I've got all the statistics right here. Bit my tongue. And with those statistics, we'll see if you come up with the right answer. What flavor of ice cream is America's favorite? Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Vanilla.
Who is this?
It's Burke out of the Eden and Hazelton area there.
Give me your full name, sir, so we can make sure we get you this certificate.
Burke, B-U-R-K-E, Waters.
Burke Waters. All right, now here's what you do, sir. You go into Smith's Food in Burley at 937 East Main, ask for Margaret, identify yourself as the winner, and you are going to get a free pail of ice cream, and then you're going to get my whole family over there to enjoy it with you.
You're more than welcome. Is she there at the service counter? Is that where Margaret's at?
Yeah, Margaret, right inside the door there at the customer service, and just tell her that you're the winner and show your identification, and you are going to get a free pail of ice cream for June Dairy Month. Compliments of Smith's Food and Drug in Burley. How about that?
Sounds fantastic. I've got a son that will eat the whole thing.
All right, sir. God bless. Have a good June Dairy Month. Thank you so much.
Too. Thank you.
All right. Okay, congratulations to him and his family. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle. Now, tomorrow on the program, holy smokes, Thursdays are really busy days for us right here on the show. From 8 to 9, of course, we've got that open forum where we have different stories to talk about different things, and then we invite your phone calls. And then, of course, second hour, we've got the Chamber of Commerce with Kay Cameron, and we're going to be talking about the Idaho Regatta, and Christy Dilworth's going to be on the program with us. And then at 9:23, we've got Dog Nation with our good friend from Minidoka Animal Control, Ken Mort. And then at 9:30 tomorrow morning, a lovely lady that's on every Thursday and does a great job, Rita Ramsey. And then, of course, at 10:12 tomorrow, we have Cassia County School Days. Now, I think we're going to be talking to, maybe I better not say anything. I'm not sure about who the guest is just yet for Cassia County School Days. And then we'll have a business salute. And then at 10:32 tomorrow morning, of course, we have Vicky's Country Garden with the show called Vicky's Gardening for Idiots, named after me. So it's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow. And then we got a special segment tomorrow. We're going to be talking to Kelly over at Western Waste Services about what in the world does America do with all of its garbage, state by state, locally, nationwide. What are they going to do with all the increasing numbers of garbage across the United States? That'll be on the air tomorrow morning at about 10:46. I've still got time for a couple of more phone calls. Give me a jingle on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call to come in for this morning, I'm going to, while I'm waiting for your call that I know is coming in, tell you a little bit about our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations with that free pre-trip safety check. Absolutely the best in tires, the best in a visual safety check of your vehicle, and of course the best of front ends, alignments, shocks and struts, everything. So you just get in there, including the very, very best of brake service. So enjoy and drive peacefully with knowing that you've had the best people in the world looking at your vehicle. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Wheels, you know, I never have asked you, what did you like to do during the course of the summer when you were still in school? What did you like the best about summertime activities?
It was pretty much just hanging out with friends, you know, going to the, you know, local parks, doing stuff like that. I don't know. I guess I'm just any typical young, I don't know if you say young man, you know, like to go to the movies, do stuff like that, go to the river, go fishing.
You like to fish?
Actually, I do. Haven't really got to go this summer, but I'm really hoping I get to. I heard that this Saturday it's going to be free fishing everywhere throughout Idaho, so I think I might go get my fishing license and take that.
You know what? I'll have a little contest with you. Someday in the near future, during the course of the summer, I'm going to challenge you to a fish-off. And we're going to go to the same stream, same location, and not only the first one that catches a fish, but the one that wins the biggest fish. And then whoever wins, the other person, the loser, has to buy the other person lunch. How's that?
That sounds good to me.
Are you a pretty good fisherman?
I guess it just all depends. I mean, I'm pretty good with a manual fishing pole. I don't like those cheap automatic ones.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, it just depends on the day, you know, stuff like that.
Of course.
Guess, you know, you got the different types of days to go fishing, you know, ones that are good, ones that are bad. So
Yeah.
It just all depends.
I just want to warn you, though, that if you beat me, along with me having to buy you lunch, I just wanted to let you know that you're fired.
Oh, well.
I'm kidding. I
think I have to beg for my job back.
Okay. Listen, man, I appreciate everything you do over there. Thank you much. Once again, tomorrow on the program, we're going to kick things off at exactly 8:06 with, of course, our weather sponsored by Cheney Flooring and Home Design with Michael Rogers Weather. And we'll be ready to rock and roll tomorrow morning at 8:06 right here on K-Bar, 12:30 a.m. And then streaming live on the internet. And if you have trouble out of the area, call somebody, tell them, ZebBell.com, ZebBell.com, and we'd love them to tune in and listen to our program. And hopefully in the next month or so, we're going to devise kind of a program to where if you refer a friend to listen on the internet, maybe we'll come up with a couple of prizes for you, okay? So once again, that's ZebBell.com. And then, of course, I don't mention this very often, and I need to get it in this morning. Weekly, we have a blog called Cow Pies and Coffee Cups. And if you'd like to subscribe, just go to ZebBell.com. You'll find out where to go and click on, and we'll get your address, and we'll make sure that we send you to that Cow Pies and Coffee Cups weekly with our blog. Okay, got you covered. Until tomorrow morning at 8:06, Zeb at the Ranch, the way things were are the way things ought to be. We'll see you then. Have a good day.